But you know, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times. If one only remembers to turn on the light.
It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends.
The ones that love us never really leave us.
Working hard is important, but there's something that matters: believing in yourself. If they can do it, why not us?
Hey everyone, welcome to Hogwarts, a podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hogwarts, a podcast. We are covering Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Act 4, Scenes 9 through 11, and Elizabeth is with us.
Hi everyone.
We are really approaching the end of Cursed Child here. It is approaching very quickly. But before we get to Act 4, Scene 9, we do have a comment from Sandhya. And Sandhya leaves a comment on Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 38, The Second War Begins. And Sandhya says, listened again as I reread The Order of the Phoenix. This book frustrates me. Lack of communication is the key theme. Obviously, Albus and Harry, then Sirius and Harry. He gives him a mirror but doesn't tell him about it in Fire. And then Sirius and Albus. Why couldn't Sirius just step out disguised with Polyjuice or some cool transfiguration? And why doesn't the Order have better means of communication? Anyway, it just irks that JK couldn't find a better way to let Sirius go. Just Umbridge and the DA and the twins saved Order of the Phoenix. Well, Sandhya, you said a lot there. And obviously, we are on record, both Elizabeth and I, as saying that Order of the Phoenix is our favorite book.
Yeah, so much so.
That being said, I will at least recognize that Sandhya's general point is not incorrect. The lack of communication is a problem throughout the book.
Yeah.
And it does lead to a lot of issues.
It's something, it's definitely a story trope that drives me nuts when I see it in books or movies or TV shows. Because I'm like, literally just take 5 extra seconds to talk to each other, clear up the communication, and then all of these problems would be avoided.
For sure. Obviously, you can point to the miscommunications between Albus and Harry through all 7 books. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is just a constant theme through the entire series. Albus only lets Harry in
when he needs to.
When he absolutely has to.
Mm-hmm.
Sirius and Harry, less so, but yeah, in that specific book, Sirius has got to tell him more.
Or Harry asks, about the mirror. Because, Harry, the first thought he has after Sirius gives it to him is, oh, I'm not going to use this. This might lure him out. I was like, that's not how it works. You can it's FaceTiming through a mirror. You don't need, it's not going to lure him anywhere.
Yeah. Harry, throughout a couple of books that he's now aware of Sirius Black as his godfather, Harry becomes almost obsessive about not putting Sirius in harm's way, for obvious reasons, for the record.
Right.
I mean, obviously, there's reasons for Harry being so anxious about the idea of Sirius getting caught and getting sent back to Azkaban, or the Dementor's kiss.
But it goes back to that whole hero complex. I'm like, Sirius is an adult. You, Harry, are not going to necessarily, lead to his demise by just talking to him. I mean, granted, yes, he did kind of lead to his demise by the whole miscommunication and all that fun stuff, but we'll skate over that fact.
Yeah, no, I agree that Sirius definitely should have emphasized the mirror and the benefits that it can have. Mm-hmm. At least that should have been a loophole that has been closed.
Yeah.
And it was left open.
The whole bit about Sirius with the transfiguration and the Polyjuice potion. I suppose Polyjuice potion is certainly more difficult to create, and the ingredients needed are maybe more expensive. So maybe it was just like we use Polyjuice potion for our most extreme missions, and Sirius going outside for a walk is maybe not the best use of it. Transfiguration, I wonder, though, with the Death Eaters being so alert that maybe it would be still a bigger risk. So I guess I could understand that aspect of it. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
So obviously the Order of the Phoenix is comprised of many extraordinarily talented witches and wizards. Mm-hmm. So transfiguration, I think, is a very plausible option. Mm-hmm. To your Polyjuice point, yes, it's a tricky potion to brew. Again, obviously, it's doable for the individuals that we're talking about. Obviously, Moody has quite the stock of it. Mm-hmm. You could use Polyjuice. You could transfigure him. He's also the dog. However, those in the know are looking for big black dog.
Right.
So the Animagus thing is kind of flown the coop. It's not an option anymore. There's other little things you could also do. Obviously, there are things maybe not as good as Harry's, but there are invisibility cloaks out there. There's disillusionment charms that act as an invisibility cloak. The reason that Dumbledore and Voldy never really thought much of that gift from death is because they were so magically powerful they could become essentially invisible themselves anyway.
Right.
So, I mean, there are plenty of options. To your point, Sandhya, there are plenty of options.
But everything does have a risk. I mean, the transfiguration comment, ironically, is going to fit in with the scenes that we're going to read today, because there's the risk that if you transfigure poorly, it might become a permanent transfiguration, and maybe some people that's too big of a risk to want to take.
All of that being said, it is an issue. And I think Dumbledore does greatly overlook just the level of plight and despair.
Yeah, the psychology of being stuck inside.
That Sirius was going through.
Yeah.
Particularly because he was in a house that had tortured him since childhood.
Yeah.
Dumbledore does have a tendency, which, by the way, he mentions and acknowledges earlier in Cursed Child in the conversation that you dislike so much between the portrait of Dumbledore and Harry, that, yeah, he's overlooked some things. He overlooked that putting Harry in that kind of environment with the Dursleys probably not the best for him. Mm-hmm. And putting Sirius in a house that is surrounded by his Slytherin, Death Eater loving, dark magic using family with the house elf that just spurts nothing but vitriol and hate.
As well as his mother's portrait.
And the mother's portrait is a whole other thing. So putting him locked away in that environment, Sirius might have thought Azkaban was better.
Which, I mean, Sirius, to his credit, did understand why Dumbledore did it. This place is the perfect place for a headquarters. It's unplottable. It's got all the protections on it. Like, it makes sense. It's just the worst circumstances you could possibly have.
Also keeping in mind Sirius's innate nature as a human being. He likes being wild and free and of his own independent nature.
A dog needs to go for a walk.
So there's a lot of factors that play there. Mm-hmm. And I don't think anyone can deny that Dumbledore certainly misstepped on how he dealt with the Sirius Black problem. Mm-hmm. And that goes without saying that obviously Sirius is a very talented wizard who could have literally physically helped him, which was Sirius's whole point. It's like, I'm capable. Mm-hmm. Why is Snape getting all the good stuff?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a fully capable person.
Yeah.
It's an interesting conversation. Yes, what you point out, Sandhya, is definitely some loopholes in Order of the Phoenix. However, there are some great things about Order of the Phoenix, which I do want to get your thoughts on, that Sandhya does point to. Before those good things, though, she does say that it irks her that J.K. couldn't find a better way to let Sirius go. How do you feel about the Sirius scene? We know what Julie thinks.
Julie hates it. Julie thinks he's still out there somewhere.
But do you think they could have found a better way, or did you like how it was done?
No, I actually really like how it's done. And I know that might be controversial because it's very sad that he dies. I'm not trying to downplay the emotional impact of the scene. I love Sirius as a character. I just think it is really interesting to have the first 4 books. Harry is always successful, right? The hero wins, he survives, he goes on to tell his tale the next year. But here, this is the first real time that we're seeing Harry fail, and it is all Harry's fault, that he, bought into the lie that Voldemort was feeding him, and losing his godfather. It's such a emotional blow, and it does force Dumbledore's hand to finally reveal the truth of the prophecy. It is time, because you just went through such an adult loss. So that all, I think, is all really important for his character development. And then in terms of the actual death itself, I really find the Department of Mysteries incredibly interesting, and that veil room that Sirius, goes through. I would love more lore about that. I'm fascinated by that. So while it's subtle, and I think maybe some people don't like how soft it comes across, especially for Sirius to die that way, I think it's really intriguing.
I think we're missing something from Sandhya here. Sandhya says, it just irks that JK couldn't find a better way to let Sirius go. How would you have preferred it, Sandhya?
Yeah.
How would you have wanted Sirius to go? For me, personally, I also am okay with it. I think if Sirius got to choose his own way to go, I think Inglorious Battle would have been a pretty high top choice for him.
Yeah.
And I think just the fact that it was Bellatrix shooting the spell, I think adds some family drama to it, which is intriguing.
Yeah.
It adds a huge motivating factor for Harry's character, both in a sad, depressed way and also an angry, vengeful way.
Yeah.
Which, is an interesting dual emotional struggle that Harry has to figure out where he's at on. And it really drives home what we just talked about with the Albus Sirius miscommunications and missteps, because that is literally the result
of a miscommunication
of all of Albus's missteps. So Sirius was obviously anxious to get into the action. And all of the miscommunications you're talking about, Sandhya, do play into it, and that's why Harry's worried about Sirius, and Sirius is worried about Harry, and no one's communicating well. To your point, I do think there is better communication amongst the Order, because they do have the Patronus way of communicating.
Yeah, I think Harry's just not attuned to their communication. He's not.
Oh, he doesn't know because he's not in the Order.
Right.
So when he informs Snape of this issue that he thinks there is, like, hey, Sirius is in trouble, what does Snape do? He immediately goes
and checks
and sends a message to the Order and be like, hey, are you good?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, everything's good. Wait, where's the kid?
Yeah. Too impulsive for his own good.
Harry was just a little too quick on that.
Which then goes back to the idea that, in book 5 with Voldemort in the shadows, it doesn't make his threat seem as real. This does make it become real for the Wizarding world, but definitely for Harry.
To your last point, I definitely think the DA and the twins are phenomenal. Wonderful parts about Order of the Phoenix.
That scene with the fireworks and them leaving
it's fantastic.
School, it just it makes me so happy every time.
The fact that the teachers leave some of the remnants behind.
The fact that Peeves salutes them.
Not because they can't get rid of it, but because they just want to leave it as, one, it's really good magic, and two, a little protest.
Yeah, it's a monument. I love it.
And the protest is for Umbridge. And I like that you say that Umbridge is one of the things that saves Order of the Phoenix, because obviously she's a villain, and she's this awful, atrocious human being.
Yeah.
But she's so enthralling.
Yeah.
Every time she enters a page, it grips you with this sense of dread, which is fantastic writing. So, I would agree. Umbridge is one of the leading things that makes Order of the Phoenix
so memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sandhya, I like this comment. Thank you, Sandhya.
Yeah, Sandhya, this is a great comment with a lot of parts to it. So thank you. And again, please comment back with what your thoughts on Sirius's death are and what you might have wanted to see from that. We appreciate that insight. We've obviously just recently had a massive part 1 where all we did was deal with comments.
That was fun, though.
I hope you all enjoyed that engagement and interaction, and I hope we can get more of that going forward. It's always a wonderful thing to see that engagement. So if you want to leave a comment on any of our socials, You can find us on Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. All of our socials can be found at HogwartsAPod. You can also leave a comment on our Spotify page by just scrolling down a little bit on the episode. If you scroll down, you'll also find a poll on Spotify. Please participate in those. We love seeing those results. We talked a little bit about some of those results in the last episode. We also put some of the polls up on social media from time to time, so please keep track of that. And we can't wait to interact with all of our listeners more.
Yeah.
So we will now move on to Act 4, Scene 9. Godric's Hollow. We're at St. Jerome's Church. We're in the sanctuary of that church, and the year is 1981. By the way, that's pretty much the scene for all of this. So just get ready. But in the scene, Harry and Ginny are talking while Albus sleeps on a nearby pew. Harry is on edge about the timing of Delphi and is like, when is she going to come? She should have come already. Where is she? Like, he's getting a little anxious. And he reflects on how Albus almost had to save the world. Ginny steps in and corrects Harry that Albus has already saved the world. And the blanket was just masterful. Beautiful idea.
She did say that, and I was going to jump on her and be immediately like, Ginny, hold on a second. But she did follow up with, he did also kind of destroy it, but we'll skate right past that part.
So Ginny begins to reflect on her own experiences, and specifically the experiences with the Chamber of Secrets. She says, after that entire process, everyone had ignored her and kind of shut her out. Except for one, the boy who had everything. That boy came to me in the Gryffindor common room and just challenged me to a game of exploding snap. People think they know everything about you, Harry. But the best bits have always been heroic in quiet ways. My point is that sometimes people, especially children, just want someone to play exploding snap with. And she continues with, the love that I felt that day, I'm not sure Albus has felt that. Harry says, I'd do anything for him. And Ginny follows up with, you would do anything for anybody. He needs to feel specific love. Harry looks at Ginny and says, I'm lucky to have you, aren't I? And Ginny says, extremely.
Okay, I like the conversation, but once again, I'm kind of like, I don't love this version of Ginny and the recollections of stuff. I also have a little bit of qualms about the Albus comment. So starting with the Ginny bit, right? She said she was feeling ignored by everyone except Harry. I don't think she was ignored. Maybe she was kind of treated as a like, ooh, we should walk on tiptoes around her by her peers. If she's like, oh, Harry, you were the only person who wanted to spend time with me in the common room. I mean, Ron's in the common room. Fred and George were there. Percy was there. Like, there was literally everyone. And Hermione certainly, like, underwent drama too with the whole Chamber of Secrets thing. So I find it hard to believe that everyone ignored her except Harry. And I think that's just this version of Ginny that the play is doing that I don't love as much.
That was a traumatic experience, not just for her, but for the entire school. There was a lot of people that were really freaked out about this whole thing. You remember the school almost closed.
Yeah, you're fearing death every day.
People were pulling their kids out of Hogwarts. Like, that was a horrifying time. Kids are getting attacked in the hallways. And no one knows why or by what. So when everything comes out, and it's like, oh, Ginny Weasley is at the center of this, I could totally see students being like, you're weird. You're super weird. Kids don't know.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like the rumor that she was being possessed by Voldemort would have gotten out pretty quickly.
And that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Why, as a kid, would you be like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to that girl that was possessed by Voldy? No, if you're a kid, an 11 and 12, remember, she was in her first year of Hogwarts. She wasn't the beautiful, talented, popular Ginny Weasley. people didn't know her.
Yeah.
If you're Ginny, when someone else outside of your bubble comes into it and says, no, I'm going to accept you. I'm going to treat you normally. When you yourself don't feel normal, I think that's a big helping hand.
I think my qualm is with the phrasing then, because I get what you're saying.
You're taking it very literally.
Well, the idea like I'm being ignored by everyone, I'm picturing like literally no one will make eye contact with her and they're just like, oh.
I think some of that's true.
I think I would I would agree with it more if the wording was like, it took forever for people to treat me like a normal person again and you were the first one to do it. Then I would be okay with that. So I know I'm being nitpicky, but that's my job as an English teacher. I do that a lot.
Pretty nitpicky.
The other part, though, that I'm going to nitpick at, though, is her comments about how Albus is not getting the specific love from Harry that she thinks he needs. And I would argue that Harry has been giving that love towards Albus. I mean, the blanket thing was an example of that specific love. Like, that was not a blanket that he gave to James first and then was like, okay, now it's Albus's turn. Like, he tried to have those bonding moments with him. Albus was the one who shunned them. He tried telling Albus, it's okay to be in Slytherin. I accept you regardless. And Albus shunned that. He didn't force his heroics upon Albus. He wasn't being like, hey, I saved the wizarding world and let me tell you all about it and I expect that of you. Albus was the one who thrust those expectations upon himself. So I feel like the criticism that Albus isn't getting specific love and all he gets from you is the same love that you would give literally anybody else in the wizarding world, I don't think that's being fair to Harry.
First of all, I love everything Ginny says here. I love getting her reflections on Chamber of Secrets. I actually contend this is the most Ginny-like thing we get in Cursed Child. I think it's interesting getting her insights and her point of view from that Chamber of Secrets incident.
I do like that aspect of it.
So, there's that side of it. And then she says to Harry what she needed on that day. The love that she needed to get was someone that she didn't expect it to come from, is what she's basically saying. Mm-hmm. And I think her point about Albus needing a specific type of love, I think, honestly, everybody needs a specific type of love. And the fact that Harry would do anything for anyone, yeah, Harry, you would help out Albus and me the same way you would help out some guy on the street being attacked by a dark wizard. That's cool, and that's a great thing about you, and that's what everybody loves about you. That's why you're the hero that you are. However, this is your son, and look, I'll throw this out to all of our parents that are listening, but I don't know, you'd like to formulaically treat all of your kids the same way, but I think, and this is coming from someone who doesn't have kids, so I will preface this statement, but I think you have to also recognize that each of your kids are different.
Yeah.
And they have different needs and different requirements and different quirks about them that require a little bit more of a deft hand.
I think each kid needs love in their own ways, and each kid has their own needs, but I do think Harry has been doing that. I don't think he was really having as many like heart-to-heart conversations with James. I feel like they probably more bonded over playing Quidditch and more active type stuff, but Harry has recognized Albus is a little more emotional, and those one-on-one heart-to-hearts where he's tried to open up. And
is that for Albus or for him? That's what Ginny's getting at.
Well, regardless, though, it's a special love of we're trying to bond. And if I'm not doing that with James, I'm not doing that with Lily, I'm doing it with you, then isn't that specialized bonding with your son?
Yeah, but if you're using your own experiences and your own... This is what Albus is saying the entire play. You're the great Harry Potter. Yeah, I know. You've done a lot of great things. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I don't.
You're not like.
I don't think Harry has.
I'm not that.
But I don't think Harry has gone up to him and been like, "Oh, let me tell you the tale of when I went to the Battle of the Ministry," right? Like, I think it was, if he did bring up his own history, specifically probably with, like, you know, his parents and their sacrifice and all that stuff, I think it was his way to try to open up a conversation. The same way, like, you know, people, whenever they're like, oh, I have a common experience with you, let me share it with you. It's the way to try to empathize with you and show, like, I understand what you went through. I also went through a similar thing. We're bonding. And I think that Harry has attempted that repeatedly, and it's just Albus in his teenage mindset rejecting it so much and not being willing to open up to his father. So Ginny's comment that, like, well, you need to give him specific love, I think is dismissing what Harry has been attempting to do.
I don't think it's dismissing or diminishing any efforts that Harry has tried to put forth. I think this is what Ginny is intending here, is to guide Harry a little bit better. And I don't think she's saying what you've done is bad. I think she's trying to say, like, look, I know who you are, and the idea that you want to help everybody is wonderful. One of the reasons I love you. That might not be what Albus needs. He's going to need something a little different than you just trying to save the world and save his world. He just might want something different. What Ginny wanted was to feel normal after such an event happened to her. And what's more normal than someone just coming over and playing a game of Exploding Snap? That's what was needed for Ginny at the time. So Albus might need something a little different, something a little bit more attuned to him and the struggles that he's going through, which Harry might not be able to immediately connect with. Harry could connect with feeling alone. He might not be able to connect with this as easily.
I know Ginny says, like, because Harry does follow up with, like, I do love Albus specifically. And Ginny says, like, I know you do, but Albus needs to feel it. I disagree. I think Albus, more so than he needs to feel it, he needs to accept it first. And then he will be able to feel it. I think the love is coming his way. It's just there's a wall that he has built up right now. If he lets that wall fall, then he will be able to experience that specialized love that Harry is sending towards him, which I think this whole play is about that wall needing to crumble down, and this experience of time travel is the thing that is going to break it and then allow him to accept it.
We started this episode with talking about miscommunications, right? So all this is between Harry and Albus is miscommunication. Harry is trying things that clearly aren't working. For whatever reason, Albus is not responding well to what Harry is trying. Is that Harry's fault? No. Is it Albus's fault? No. I don't think anybody's at fault. I think they just have to try to get on the same page, and each individual has to make some concessions and try some different techniques to get back on the same page. And what you said, this time travel incident, yeah, that might be an inciting event that recontextualizes their relationship and what they each mean to each other.
I think it's going to help Albus empathize with his father more.
I think it'll help Albus realize what Ginny is talking about. Like, the wonderful thing about you is you're willing to help everybody. And that's awesome. And you're successful in doing so more often than not. And I think Albus is seeing that side of his father, not just the business-like hero or the person that everybody tells him his father is. He's able to actually see it and see that concern, whereas Harry is able to see just how alone Albus feels. He might not have realized it in their normal day-to-day. Like, why aren't you making friends? You're capable of making friends. Why aren't you doing this, X, Y, and Z? You're capable. Why can't you do it? Now he's able to see, oh, you feel like you're alone. Like, this is how alone you feel? How did I not see that? And then he recontextualizes his approach to communicating with his son. I actually love what Ginny has said here, both on her own reflections of Chamber of Secrets and her 2 cents on the relationship between her husband and her son. I wish she had given this earlier.
Oh, yeah, I'll agree with you there.
But I think it's valid, helpful insight that she's giving. I don't think it's a criticism. I don't think it's demeaning to Harry. I think it's just some guidance that she's trying to give in this moment.
I don't think she's trying to criticize, but I do take it in that way because I think, again, it just dismisses what Harry has been doing this whole play.
Well, let us know what you think about Ginny's little mini monologue here. I, again, personally think it is probably the most Ginny has been in Cursed Child, but all of our listeners, please let us know, because I think this is another thing to kind of really dig in on. Mm-hmm. It's a really cool little conversation that they have one way or the other. So they eventually return their thoughts to Delphi, and they ask the question, wait, why has she waited? This is a long time. She's been in Godric's Hollow for a long time now. And then Ginny comes to the realization of, oh, I don't think she wants to kill Harry. I don't think she wants to do anything other than meet her father, meet Voldy.
Because, I mean, like, if she wanted to kill Harry, why wait until now? He's been alive for 1 year and 3 months.
And Lily's been taking him outside of the house often.
Put a stop to that real quickly.
So Ginny comes to the realization that instead of killing Harry herself or helping Voldy in his mission, maybe she just wants to stop him from attacking at all.
It'd be the best way to break the prophecy.
Yeah, it's I think, earth-shattering thought that Ginny has to end this scene because it kind of recontextualizes everything and would alter their game plan.
And because I feel like so much of this, both the play and the series, is we have to act. We have to do something. We have to be like really, offensive with our thoughts and our actions. And here the most offensive active thing is literally being like, hey, don't do anything. Just let it be. And that tiny choice would have such horrible repercussions for the existence of the entire wizarding world. Just doing nothing is the right choice for you.
I think often, or at least more often than not, the action of inaction is actually more consequential.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting position to be in.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought was interesting with that, though, like she said, yes, Delphi, other than encouraging Voldemort to just do nothing, is the fact that she said Delphi must want to just meet her father, the father that she loves. And I think that's a little interesting psychology there, because Delphi is setting herself up for heartbreak here. She's loving a father and worshiping a father who we know is literally incapable of love. So trying to prove herself as worthy to Voldemort, someone who does not even know of her existence at this point in time, and having to convince him to trust her, and knowing that like the large part of her is just looking for approval, like that's gonna backfire really hard.
Well, I think Delphi loves the idea of Voldemort. Delphi has been indoctrinated, for lack of a better term, with only loving, nostalgic thoughts of Voldemort. So that's all she really has to go on. So it's all based on what other people have told her and the fact that, well, he obviously had you for a reason. You were going to be, the next heir of Slytherin, right? Like, you were literally the heir to a person who never wanted to, expected to, or planned on dying ever.
Well, it seems to me to connect back to the theme of like sons or daughters in this case not living up to their father's legacies. Like Albus has felt that about Harry. Scorpius probably feels the same way about, being a Malfoy to Draco. So for Delphi, the idea that, yes, everything I've been doing is to prove myself worthy of you, And it's like, well, if anyone's going to reject you, it's going to be Voldemort.
Well, I think the idea of Delphi here is just that she has heard nothing but romanticized, nostalgic storytelling of the man that she's calling her father. Mm-hmm. Again, the tagline here is, well, he had to have you for a reason. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why you exist.
Yeah.
That must be because he values you. And that's what she's going off of. So she's excited then to meet someone who was so enthusiastic about her existence, to then have her. So...
Which is a bold assumption to make.
I can see where she's getting it from.
Yeah, no, I can too. But I was like, ooh, girl, you're... be prepared for some heartbreak here.
Well, he's an interesting individual in person, let's say. We'll transition to Act 4, Scene 10. Again, we're in Godric's Hollow. Again, we're at St. Jerome's Church. And again, we are in the year 1981. The whole group, including the kids, is discussing Delphi's possible plan to stop Voldy's attempted murder of Harry. And Ron is amused by the fact that Scorpius and Hermione simultaneously answer Albus's history question that he throws to the group.
Yeah, I like when he's like, blimey, there's two of them. Like, we've made that comment before, too, that Scorpius is definitely the Hermione.
They marry each other quite well.
They really, really do.
So, Albus's solution to this whole problem is once again breaking into Bathilda Bagshot's house to steal supplies and brew up a polyjuice potion.
He said he's really good at polyjuicing, and I'm like, I'm sorry, when did polyjuice become a verb?
It almost sounds like steroid use. Like you're juicing up.
A little bit, but this comment made me facepalm so hard, because I'm like, Albus, sir, you say you're so good at polyjuicing, but if you're so good at polyjuice potions, you should already know that, first of all, it takes a really long time to brew properly. 2, you need a bit of the person that you're transforming into. Where's your piece of Voldemort? And also, the polyjuice potion, even if you somehow manage to take care of part 1 and part 2, it only is going to last you an hour. It is a horrible idea that immediately contradicts his claim that he's so good at polyjuicing.
Flaws with Albus's plan, for sure.
I like Hermione at least giving him a little bit of acknowledgement, though, that the idea of luring Delphi to us is a smart thing to do. We can work with that at least.
So Harry suggests the idea of transfiguration. Now this kicks off a whirlwind of conversation as Harry kind of darts off and thinks introspectively on the side. Hermione kicks it off with saying that we have enough excellent witches and wizards to actually pull off a Voldy transformation via transfiguration. Which I do like Hermione acknowledging, like, hey, I'm pretty good at transfiguration.
She was the best in the class.
I'm pretty sure, Draco, you're pretty good at it, right? If I remember correctly, you're pretty talented. I think we could do this, right? Cool. Scorpius, really quick, what are your grades in transfiguration? Albus, I'm here too. I asked Scorpius.
Ron's like, I can help, and she's like, no.
No. I joke. But I do like Hermione saying, like, hey, we're all really excellent witches and wizards. We could pull this off. Ron immediately volunteers to be transfigured due to his chill personality. He references the fact that, hey, look, I am the least connected to Voldy the person. I could probably pull this off and not be as affected by having to become such a horrendous, monstrous individual.
When I read that comment, I literally made an audible groan because I was like, Ron, are you kidding me? You, Mr. Horcrux Locket freak out child, right? You are the most chilled out of everybody in this room. Are you kidding me? Like, I know, yes, your personal children are not currently involved in this whole scenario, and maybe that's what he's thinking about. But if this goes wrong, the entire existence of the Wizarding World, which includes your children, your best friend, your godson, your nephew, your sister, your wife, literally everyone in this room is at stake here. And you being the chillest person, no one has ever called Ron Weasley chill when it comes to like dangerous scenarios.
I don't know about that.
Dangerous scenarios involving Voldemort?
No, I think there have been moments where his level-headed nature has gotten them through. I think Hermione overthinks things too much, and Harry just rushes into stuff. I think there have been times where Ron has been like, hey guys, hey, whoa.
I don't know if when
time out.
Voldemort is literally going to be there. He's the one who the entire series has been like, he who must not be named. Like, he's the one who's grown up hearing how bad Voldemort is. So he's the one who freaks out the most when Voldemort is near.
I can understand where Ron is coming from. I get his point. Do I think Ron should be the individual transfigured? Absolutely not. I get his point. It's not a strong one. And I think that's why he's the first one to go, because he's the first one shot down. But, like, I get it. It's just not a strong argument to make.
Him just calling himself chill is just, like, do some self-assessment here.
He's also an adult that's mellowed out a little bit, too. I mean, naturally. And he's definitely not as high-strung as Hermione and Harry. And Draco, for that matter.
Well, they have more stressful jobs.
Still, it counts. I mean, I for the record, I do think Ron is technically correct. I don't think it's, one, a strong enough argument, and two, there are plenty of other reasons why he shouldn't be the guy. I agree with the group's assessment here of like, and moving on to option 2. Option 2 is Draco steps forward. Draco also volunteers due to having what he calls more precision than Ron. No offense to Ron. And he also has an added bonus of a nice wealth of knowledge of dark magic.
I do feel like that is a valuable thing to bring to the table. Because, yeah, Ron is not exactly going to step up and do some dark magic as he pretends to be Voldemort.
Yeah, well, yes. Draco, I think, does present a pretty strong case. 1, the dark magic. Yes. 2, the intimate knowledge of just being Slytherin in general. Mm-hmm. And 3, he has spent time around the man. Yeah. I mean, he does know Voldy to a pretty decent level.
And he has grown up around Death Eaters. He knows how they talk. He knows how they think. So he would be able to portray that really convincingly. He
is a little bit more controlled, calculated. He measures his words a bit better
than Ron.
So when confronted with a more stressful or pressure-packed situation, I do think Draco can generally handle it a little bit better than Ron. So, yeah, Draco does present a good case. But I also agree, not the best case, as the group moves on to Hermione, who volunteers. And she steps in and says, no. I have to be the person. I am the Minister for Magic. It's my right and my responsibility to take on this burden. What do we think of Hermione's claim?
Absolutely not. I think Draco has a better claim than Hermione does.
Yeah?
Yeah. Even if she's the Minister of Magic, even if she is like the top of their class with magic, I think if it comes to portraying the most evil man in their modern magical history, the person who has been around him, has heard him speak, has seen how he interacts with his Death Eaters, Draco, should be the one who should be doing it.
I also agree it shouldn't be Hermione, and I also agree that just because she's the Minister for Magic does not entitle her to this position.
Yeah. Like, I get the idea of I want to protect my citizens, so I should do it, and that's very noble of her, but the fact is she cannot portray Voldemort.
Well, you threw Ron under the bus for what I felt was a few unjustified reasons. I'm about to throw Hermione under the bus. We've seen her take on a Death Eater role. Mm-hmm. We've seen her embody Bellatrix. Mm-hmm. That did not go well.
There were some good moments of it.
She said good morning.
Yeah, but she was also able to catch on to the idea of calling a person who didn't have a wand anymore an it instead of a human being.
She was so unconvincing as Bellatrix that a mid-tier Death Eater, didn't believe her. Hey, you know what? I'm actually going to go with you. I'm going to join you.
See, that's where we disagree again. We had this conversation in that scene where I don't think it was he was investigating her. I think he was literally just joining her.
I think Travers was very suspicious.
I know you thought that, but I didn't take it that way.
Travers was very suspicious. So, look, and I know Hermione has grown, and she's matured as well, and she's become wiser, not only smarter, but wiser in her older age.
But her undercover work is undeveloped and probably rusty.
And historically not been great to begin with. So I don't love Hermione here. I agree with you that I would actually take Draco over Hermione in this situation.
I like how Scorpius jumps in and is like, we should just draw lots. And Albus is like, yeah. Draco's like, the kids are not volunteering. What are we talking about?
Yeah, Ginny and Draco shut that down real quick. It's like, kids out. That's immediate. They're not in.
You weren't even alive while he was around. How are you supposed to portray him?
Yeah. No, you two are out easily.
Could you imagine if Scorpius was pretending to be Voldemort, though, and he just, like, kind of skipped around, and they're like, why is he skipping? He's like, it's a character choice.
I don't think Scorpius would skip. I think he would sashay. He would strut. Because he thinks that's what Voldy would do.
He would try to strut, but it would be like a kid who can't actually pull it off, thinking that he looks cool, and it's just like, oh no, this is uncomfortable.
No. Yeah, the kids are very much not the option. They are equally the worst options available. So Ginny steps in, not to volunteer, but to say, you are all nuts. I am not doing this, and I can't believe any of you actually want to do this. That's coming from a person who, again, has had Voldy possess her, and she wants nothing to do with this man.
Which I understand why she wouldn't want to become him, especially after being possessed. I don't fully get the whole calling them crazy, though, because it's not like it's Polyjuice Potion. You are not literally going to be looking exactly like him. You're not literally tasting Voldemort to transform into him. The transfiguration, if it's done well, it's not necessarily going to be permanent. I know that's always a risk, but you also don't have to really do anything as Voldemort. You're not going to be necessarily performing like the killing curse on anybody.
You don't know that
right
exactly, because you go undercover even in this scenario.
Well, I mean, it seems like it's mostly let's lure Delphi into the church. I would think the biggest risk is being seen by James and Lily and then being accidentally killed. You know, like if you were transformed as Voldemort and then Lily was taking Harry out for a walk again and they saw them, they'd be like, oh, that's a risk.
That's potentially a thing that can go wrong.
Yeah.
If you mistime this and they do go out for a walk, even though they very much should not be going out for walks.
Right.
And then they attack, it's like, oh my gosh, now we're in a duel with Lily and James, which is not where we want to be. But two things that I disagree with. Once again.
We're disagreeing a lot this episode.
About your dislike of Ginny saying this, especially the you're all mad line that she says. I think the line is twofold, okay? I think on one hand, it's whether it's Polyjuice Potion or Transfiguration, the idea is that you become a shadow of the man. You become kind of like the man. And what Ginny is feeling and thinking at this time is, who wants to go inside the mind of Voldy and try to replicate that? That's a terrible place to put yourself in. Mentally, emotionally, physically, it's just a terrible spot. Why would you want to do that to yourselves? And two, I think it's a little meta in that we should be watching this on stage. So like the actors literally becoming Voldy and the idea of acting, and you literally have to put yourself into that person to embody that person. I think it's a little twofold, but because you should be seeing it played out in front of you. So I think it's a little bit of one, little bit of the other. But the idea is, why would you want to try to embody such a horrendous individual? Like, you shouldn't be excited about that.
Which I Again, I don't think that anyone is necessarily excited. I think they're just volunteering because they're like, well, I would be the best one to do it. I'd be the best one to do it. So I don't mind Ginny being like, I don't want to do it. It makes sense for her to not want to do it. I just think it's coming across a little bit as over dramatic to be like, you guys are all crazy. Because obviously somebody has to do it. This is their best plan that they can put forward in order to draw Delphi away from the real Voldemort and stop him from doing anything.
I'm realizing as we're talking through this scene that of the many, many conversations we've had on this podcast, and the many therapy conversations we've had, and I'm sure we did mention Ginny needing a whole lot of therapy after the Chamber of Secrets incident. But I don't think we did really have a good enough discussion at any point in time about what the lasting effects of being possessed by Voldy, opening a Chamber of Secrets, leading to multiple petrifications of people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's horrifying to live through, and to put that blame on yourself.
I feel like we should have some episodes in the future where we just kind of break down that therapy talk.
We probably should.
Because I think that'd be really fun.
Because I think it's coming out a lot now. Like, Ginny is unloading a lot of her own clear stress and anxiety over the idea of Voldy. And obviously it's all stemming from decades prior.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ginny's unloading a lot here.
She's not the best choice to become Voldemort anyway.
She is not. Harry then rejoins this conversation after everybody's had their chance and their say, and says, yeah, so it has to be me. And everybody turns to Harry, and Harry lays out his case. Look, she's going to use Parseltongue. I still have that ability, and I still have that ability for a reason. Plus, I know what it's like to feel like him, to be him. Before we get into everybody's response to that, I think clearly, from my point of view, I think that is the best case.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's designed to be, yes. But, look, the Parseltongue argument is pretty bulletproof.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hard thing to argue against. And yeah, he has embodied him, commiserate, I guess, with Ginny in that idea of having Voldy literally be a part of you and inside of you is not a great feeling.
And even more than Ginny, because whenever Ginny was possessed, she obviously blacked out and did not remember what she was doing. Harry was actively in Voldemort's mind, watching him torture people, watching him kill people, and being unable to react because it was either those visions or asleep or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I think the Parseltongue itself is the trump card here, like that. You have to be able to speak to snakes. She's going to test that, sure. But yeah, being in his mind makes him the best option. I would put Draco as a runner-up for sure, but Harry is the winner.
No one's better in this situation trying to become Voldy than Harry. Ron, however, vehemently disagrees with Harry's assessment. Hermione actually reluctantly agrees with Harry's assessment. Ginny says she reluctantly agrees with Ron, which is, not her preferred stance, but here we are.
Well, nobody wants Harry to be stuck looking like Voldemort for the rest of his life.
The downside to Harry being the one to do this is, of everyone there, including Ginny, he's obviously got the most trauma associated with the man. So it's not so much the physical part, it's also the psychological part. You're now becoming the person who has tormented you and your family since literally you were a baby.
Yeah, you're actively stepping back into the trauma that you thought ended however many years ago now.
Ron vehemently disagrees so much because he has been literally standing next to and sleeping next to Harry all of these years at school when he's gone through all of these traumas, and he knows that Harry has been through it. And now Ginny has been getting it as they've been out of school, and she sees how much this has tormented Harry. Harry just got through saying this monologue of, I should be dead. Everybody else should be alive. Like, he's still carrying that weight years later.
Yeah.
So Ginny knows that. So that's why they're, Ron and Ginny are in agreement, because they're like, Harry, this guy has put you through so much. don't let him put you through another thing.
And I know we just brushed past the physical aspect of this, but it would be really, really bad irony for Harry Potter, the boy who lived, the boy who survived, to be stuck looking like the man who killed his parents and tried to kill him and tried to destroy the Wizarding World. Like, even if you are the boy who lived, you would have to go forth looking like that forever and being treated like Voldemort forever. So it's a big risk.
Hermione begins to tell Ron and Ginny that their concerns are valid. However, and Harry cuts Hermione off and addresses Ginny specifically. Harry says, "Gin, I won't do it if you don't want me to. It just feels like the only way. Am I wrong?" And Ginny looks at Harry and reluctantly agrees to the plan. Mm-hmm. And then Hermione kicks into action and directs Harry to position Delphi in a very specific spot so they can all launch their attacks on her, because Hermione thinks that they'll have one shot at this and one shot only.
I like how Draco was like, well, yeah, shouldn't we come up with some kind of game plan? And then Ron's just like, we'll just zap her when she comes in. It's like, no, maybe we shouldn't wing it this time, Ron. Let's actually have, like, a real layout here.
Well, they try to get a layout together, and Draco's like, okay, but there are still a lot of what-ifs in this plan that you're having. And Albus addresses Draco and says to trust his dad.
Yeah, because Draco had said, yeah, the transfiguration might not hold. Delphi could see through the lies. She could try to escape. She could do more damage. Like, we need a plan that is foolproof. And I think that is Draco not being used to how the Golden Trio does things. So hearing Albus being like, hey, trust my father, I think that's a really important thing for him to hear. One, because, yeah, Draco, Harry has succeeded lots of times. You should remember that from your past. So quick refresher for you. But then, yeah, saying trust my dad. The comment says how Harry is very moved by that. And it's a subtle thing. I wish it would maybe be elaborated on a little bit more just to let it sit a little bit longer. But I think Harry at least notices it, and it is a lot for him to
This might also be one of the moments where it's like, while it's on the script and it moves quick, while it's on the script and it moves quick, on stage, they could take a beat.
Yeah, like seeing how the actor shows being moved. Like, it could be a long, like, look at each other. It could be maybe like a hug or some kind of smile. Whatever the case may be, it would be very, like, touching.
Yeah. So, I mean, I imagine it as, like, a beat. And then Harry is, like, moved by it. And then everybody begins to turn their wands onto Harry. Which for Harry must be surreal. One, seeing Hermione and Ron is one thing. Having Draco turn his wand onto Harry, one, must be a familiar sight. But two, must be somewhat off-putting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But they all turn their wands on Harry for a slow, monstrous transformation. And everybody is aghast at the horrendous sight before them. I could not imagine being one of them and being so conflicted with, wow, I'm really good at magic. Wow, I'm really good at transfiguration. Oh no, I am really good at transfiguration.
You're asking me to do what now?
This is awful. I kind of wish I hadn't done this.
Yeah.
Professor McGonagall would not have approved of this transfiguration.
I don't know. I feel like she'd be like, well, A+ for the magic, but maybe next time something happier. Maybe.
I can just imagine her shrill voice coming in. You do not turn other people into the Dark Lord.
Let alone like bouncing ferrets. You not
There's a whole other level to bouncing
like
ferrets.
War criminals.
Bouncing ferrets have nothing on this, okay?
Do you think Draco is like, oh, at least this time it's not me?
Maybe. Barty Crouch Jr. ain't here anymore. All right. We will pause it here. We will take a little break, and then we will be back with Act 4, Scene 11, where we are, guess where? Godric's Hollow, St. Jerome's Church, 1981. We'll be right back. Before we get to our break sound, I'd like to acknowledge our friend Andy, who helps us produce our intros and our break sounds. If you want to hear more of Andy's work, and like Formula One racing, check out the Outlap F1 podcast. It's your one-stop shop for Formula One news, insights, race previews, and reviews. You can find them wherever you listen to podcasts, and they even have a YouTube page. So check out Andy and Cody and join them on the Outlap.
This episode is brought to you by Peloton. Break through the busiest time of year with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. With real-time guidance and endless ways to move, you can personalize your workouts and train with confidence, helping you reach your goals in less time. Let yourself run, lift, sculpt, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
I love magic.
All right, so we are back with part 2, and we are in Act 4, Scene 11. We are still in Godric's Hollow at St. Jerome's Church in the year 1981. The group is standing at the window of the church, and Ginny sits kind of further back, unable to actually look at Harry and the situation that they're in.
Well, he looks scary.
He looks terrifying. Albus goes over to her for reassurance, and Ginny says she hopes everything is going to be okay. She just can't see the man she loves shrouded in the man she hates. Which is quite a line, really. And Albus admits that he actually really liked Delphi, and that this is all his fault. Ginny embraces Albus and tells him that Harry actually believes this is all his fault. You're quite the father-son duo here. Scorpius spots Delphi in the square in Godric's Hollow, and Hermione directs them to their spots. Draco, at being directed by Hermione, says, "Am I really being bossed around by Hermione? Hermione Granger is bossing me around?" I actually kind of like it.
And then the Draco and Hermione, the Draco and the Hermione shippers go nuts.
Yep. It is nice to see Draco give a little smile in Hermione's direction, though. Because Hermione, turns around, because he says it out loud.
Yeah.
And Hermione turns around and is like, "I'm sorry?"
It almost comes across as sassy, but then with the smile at the end, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, you're just teasing me. That's cute.
Yeah.
I do really like, actually, the scene with Ginny and Albus. I know I've been giving Ginny a lot of flack, but I think this is my moment where Ginny seems the most like Ginny. The conversation with Albus saying, I think this is my fault, and Ginny's being like, oh, that's interesting. Your father thinks the exact same thing. I actually wish that conversation was expanded upon a little bit more. I wouldn't mind Albus having to sit with a thought that, oh, Dad and I are actually alike. Harry is also, yes, I've always said he's the hero, but this whole idea that oh, this is my fault, that has been a consistent theme for Harry his entire life of that self-blame. So it would be nice for him to see that connection of father like son. And then I also do enjoy seeing Ginny act like the mother in this conversation, because she's not throwing Harry under the bus at all. She's not blaming him. I'm subtly showing my care for Harry. I'm standing up for him, but at the same time, I'm gently parenting you, Albus, my son, and letting you know that it's okay to feel this way. It's not your fault, but it's okay to feel that way, and that's why you remind me so much like your dad. It's a nice thing. I like it. I wish there was more of it.
I've liked Ginny this entire episode. This included. No, I do like Ginny's acknowledgement of you two are a lot like each other.
Yeah.
And you do have kind of those same empathetic, this is all my fault. If I had just been better, everything would have been different.
Yeah.
Or if I had been different, this would all be different.
That self-blame, and I like that Ginny is the one to stand up and be like, no, stop blaming yourself. You are actually doing the best that you can. Yeah. So, we transition now to Harry Voldy at this point, as now they're discerned by Harry / Voldemort. Re-enters the church and threatens the person who is following him. And Delphi announces herself as, "Hey, look, I'm Voldy's daughter." She said this is the moment she's waiting for her entire life. That's what the stage comment said.
So Delphi says that she's from the future. I'm the child of Bellatrix Lestrange and you. I was born at Malfoy Manor before the Battle of Hogwarts. A battle that you will lose. I have come to save you. And then she goes further into the history, saying that Rodolphus Lestrange, Bellatrix's loyal husband, who on return from Azkaban told me who I was and revealed the prophecy he thought I was destined to fulfill.
All right, now I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on this because I know you have had comments this entire series about Bellatrix towards Voldemort, and specifically with Rodolphus's thoughts on those feelings that she has.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts on this. I have so many thoughts on this. Throughout the entire series, going back to the original 7 books, I always found it odd that Rodolphus was totally cool with Bellatrix just fawning and gushing over another dude. Granted, I know it's the Dark Lord, and I know he is a charismatic, persuasive individual who, while he doesn't look it, very much still has that Tom Riddle charm.
Yeah, the charisma is still there.
The charisma is still there. Like, he is a charismatic leader to the nth degree. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand that. Mm-hmm. But she is fanatical. And I get that she's, maybe not exactly sane. I get that she might be a little insane. But still, if I was Rodolphus, I'd be like, what am I caught up in here? Am I really a true believer in a guy that is possibly romantically involved with my wife?
Or at least my wife is romantically pursuing him.
Correct. Now we get actual confirmation that Bellatrix and Voldy have had relations and have a child. There's a lot of questions in that dynamic with Bellatrix and Voldy. I don't know how that topic or subject was broached.
Honestly, you know what I would guess it was? It kind of reminds me, I know you are not necessarily a fan of the show, but I'm a big fan of the show American Horror Stories. And there is a season with a cult. And part of the cult is that you have your leader, and the leader will demand of, like, the women, particularly in the cult, to, yes, have my children so that my magical ability or my charisma or whatever the case may be, my power, because a lot of times those cult leaders, they convince their followers that they're, like, destined for greatness or whatever. So to continue on my bloodline, I will convince you that it is your duty to be with me romantically and produce my child so that my blood can, like, continue on. I could see Voldemort as having done that with Bellatrix.
Okay, so I will grant you that it is very much cult-like behavior, and this is very much a cult.
Yes.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Then that leads me down another road of questions that I'm sure Rodolphus would also have in this circumstance of, okay, why my wife?
Well, how many women, like,
you have
Death
Narcissa
Eaters are
right
there?
So if you're thinking that it's a bloodline issue, right? Because this is Voldy.
Yeah.
So he wants to continue a pure blood line, right? Mm-hmm. So essentially, there's really only one other really pure blood line, like real pure blood.
Right. Her sister.
Yes. It's Bellatrix, Andromeda, who's already been, like, out of the picture. Andromeda's gone. Mm-hmm. Not an option. She's with Ted Tonks, away. Very much not a Voldy supporter. Very much not in the cult.
Right.
So you have Bellatrix and Narcissa are your two options.
I would guess he more was identifying what characteristics he would want his offspring to possess.
Insanity?
Well, the aggression that Bellatrix has, the insanity that she has, the devotion she has to him. She certainly was more actively devoted to Voldemort than Narcissa seemed to be. I think he was, I don't want to use the word attracted because I don't think that Voldemort saw her in that romantic way. Yeah. But I think the quality he saw in Bellatrix that was most attractive to him would have been her cruelty that she's willing to show towards people. If you're going to be able to convince anyone to do it, she is going to be very easy to persuade. And like you said, she is already of the bloodline. Whereas Narcissa, she keeps keeping her head down. She is being quiet. She's not openly expressing support for everything that Voldemort's doing. She's not like leaning over the table to get closer to him. So I think that Voldemort saw Bellatrix and was like, yes, if I want a future offspring, I want someone who is going to be as cruel, as crazy, as devoted to my cause as Bellatrix is.
I think you're spot on with all of it, 100%. I think a lot of factors point to Bellatrix as the clear choice.
That all said, if I wanted to pick my mother, Narcissa would definitely outweigh Bellatrix.
Sure. I'm not done with my thoughts on this whole story from Delphi, by the way.
Okay.
She says, Rodolphus Lestrange, who on return from Azkaban, I'm sorry, on return? How is he not rotting in Azkaban? How is he returning from Azkaban? That blows my mind.
Yeah, he should
You
stay.
cannot let him out.
Especially since he broke out the first time.
What are you doing? Hermione. Come on. Or maybe it was Kingsley. I don't know. It was one of the two.
It had been.
I guess this points back to a conversation that was earlier in Cursed Child. And Hermione actually pointing to some informants that they have, which at the time we didn't question as much as we probably should have, but let's question it now. She says they have Death Eater informants. She says they have Death Eater connections. That, I guess, now implies that there are actually maybe more than just Rodolphus not in Azkaban. And how? How? If you have a dark mark from the Battle of Hogwarts, if you were a core Death Eater during the time of the Battle of Hogwarts, you should not set foot outside of Azkaban ever again. How? How?
I was thinking that she mostly meant Draco with that.
You'd think, but now we have two that have not rotted in Azkaban.
Well, I guess the question is, yeah.
And I doubt Harry vouched for Rodolphus Lestrange.
I'm gonna go with the headcanon, if we were even to include this as headcanon, that Rodolphus escaped.
That would be maybe even worse.
The thing I'm more intrigued with is the fact that he revealed the prophecy to her. Where did Rodolphus get this prophecy from?
It's fair.
You know, like who even made the prophecy to then be told to Rodolphus to then tell to Delphi? That is the aspect that I'm like, please give me more information.
Or did he just point blank lie and create something out of nowhere?
In which case, kind of props to Rodolphus for coming up with a lie convincing enough that can set this into motion. Just
because him and Bellatrix are probably clinically insane does not mean they're dumb.
No, but he would have had to have come up with that whole wordage of, you know, when a spare is no longer spare and father unknown, like that whole phrasing it in that kind of roundabout, like, ooh, what's this mean way? Maybe. Like, I don't know. I'm intrigued by this background. I wish there was a little bit more here. But yeah, the hearing that Bellatrix is her mother, then an audience member first, I think your first reaction is like, whoa, Bellatrix Lestrange and Voldemort, they had a kid. And then your second reaction is like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. She's crazy.
Yes. So this is supposed to be a mic drop. Oh my gosh, this is insanity moment. And it is. Mm-hmm. We're not reacting like that because, again, this is not our first time yet.
Yeah.
But it is. It is supposed to be that shock moment in the play. And once you do think about it for a second, it does make sense, again, for everything that we have said already about Bellatrix and her relationship with Voldy. So it does make sense the more you kind of settle in with it. But I have so many questions about it. So yeah, I would love to have like a whole side section of info just on this. Because I have questions. So many questions. And Hermione, I'm sorry. If Rodolphus Lestrange is just walking around, I need to have a conversation with you. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. Anyway. It's like, is Dolohov walking around too? Maybe he's walking down Diagon Alley, like randomly. Like, what are we doing? Is McNair still an executioner?
I mean,
what's going on?
If that's the case, I imagine the whole wizarding world is shunning them like crazy. That's not something you can just put into your past.
If that is true, that there are Death Eaters like Rodolphus Lestrange walking around free, that is a fudge level thing. But anyway, I will let Hermione off the hook this one time. This one time, okay?
You can't see that at home, but he did a little finger wag.
But if we find out more about this and there are more, Hermione, we're going to have a talk, okay? Girl, please. All right? So, Harry Voldy, whatever, says there may be some similarities between you and Bellatrix. However, you haven't inherited the best of her. What do you think that means?
Her craziness, maybe? Her devotion?
Her devotion? Her loyalty?
I don't know.
Her fanaticism?
Her looks?
That's what I take it as initially.
Yeah. I take it more as just say, like, I want to poke and prod at you because I have to prove.
I mean, that's probably the point.
Like, if I'm acting as Voldemort, I can't be so accepting of you immediately. Like, I have to insult you as much as possible to sell the role.
Like, I don't disagree with that thought and that line of thinking from Harry in this situation. I'm just like, what were you trying to get across there is my question.
You'll never be your mother. Let me give you trauma within 5 seconds of meeting you.
I don't disagree with it. I just want to know specifically what he was angling at. Anyway. But he continues with, well, without proof, I can't really, And then Delphi, like Harry predicted, begins to speak Parseltongue. And Harry adeptly is like, yeah, not impressed.
Yeah.
You think that's enough?
Yeah.
That's not enough.
He's doing a good job of acting like Voldemort.
And Delphi's like, oh, okay, all right. Geez, what do I do? Okay. And then she rises into the air.
Have I mentioned I can fly? But I like how when she rises, she's like, I'm the augury to the Dark Lord, and I'm ready to give everything to serve him. Like, she is really selling the role of devoted servant to convince, like, yes, I am your daughter. Because a daughter of Voldemort must be a devoted servant.
And Harry does look at this, and he has to try to suppress his own shock at seeing someone literally fly in front of him.
Yeah.
And he says, you've learnt to fly from me. I've never met someone before attempting to be my equal. And Delphi's like, no. I'm not pretending to be your equal. I'm not worthy of you. Mm-hmm. I'm just devoting my life to being a child that you can be proud of. And Harry says, I see what you are and what you could be, daughter. Delphi's like, father? And Harry says, come into the light so I can see what my blood has made.
I think Harry's playing this really well, because if he continued with, like, it was smart of him to start off with insulting her, because
threatening her. He started off with a threat.
The threats and the insults is very in line with a toxic father, like Voldemort would have been. But eventually, yes, you would have to lure her closer into the church so that she can be attacked. And this would be a good moment to acknowledge her as daughter. It gives me, like, Vader vibes, honestly, from Star Wars.
Little Empire Strikes Back.
A little Empire Strikes Back coming out. And I think it's subtle by just calling her daughter and not just being like, yeah, give old dad a hug, like that kind of thing. But
this is like the reverse, though. This is like Obi-Wan going to Luke and Vader being the one that the surprise is pulled on.
Yeah.
So this is like Luke saying to Vader, Obi-Wan never told you that you had a son. Join me. Like, this is like the reverse of
that.
It
is the reverse of it, yeah. But I think it's good acting on his part at this moment to be like, okay, I have to not, like, fully embrace her, that I'm not, like, giving out hugs here, but by calling her daughter, it puts her a little bit more at ease, and that will lure her into the place where we can attack her. So it's a good job, Harry.
Yeah, I do think Harry is doing a pretty good job of impersonating the man he hates so much. Mm-hmm. To his credit, he has, again, literally seen scenes of Voldy interrogating someone or questioning someone or trying to get information from someone. So, I mean, it tracks. The only thing he can't, is the legitimacy.
Yeah.
That Voldy can employ.
Yeah. But even the way he phrased it, right? Like, he told her to come to light so I can examine what my blood has made. Like, what a Death Eater line that is to mention blood. Phrasing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Delphi begins to tell Voldy the mistake of attacking Harry. And Harry begins to start to turn back into himself slowly, which I have questions about. Mm-hmm. The first bit is his hand. It starts to turn back to Harry's hand. Delphi continues by explaining how exactly Volvi's plan will fail, including all of Lily's protection and such. And then Harry starts to begin to turn fully back into himself, which Delphi recognizes. And then Delphi and Harry begin firing spells at each other, specifically Incendio, which I also have a comment on. Mm-hmm. She ends up sending bolts of spells to the doors to seal them with Coloportus, and taunting Harry that, no, your friends aren't going to join you in this. It's me and you. And Harry is not shy of a solo challenge. Mm-hmm. So we have some stuff to talk about just in this little mini bit. One, just briefly and quickly. The spells Incendio are used frequently in Cursed Child. And I think the reason for that is pretty clear. It's a special effect they can use in the play dramatically. Yeah. That is really wonderful to see on the stage.
Because it uses like a firework.
Yeah, it's effective.
Yeah.
So that's something that they can easily pull off as far as, spells. Mm-hmm. So that's why you're seeing Incendio, because I know in the podcast and previous battles or what have you, some people have commented that, oh man, the spells that they're using are underwhelming considering their magical potential, right? And I would include that here. Like, why are Delphi and Harry using Incendio? Yeah. Well, doesn't make sense, except that it's on a stage and it really gets the effect quite well.
Yeah, because there's like the popping sound that goes along with it and the bright flash of light.
Yeah, it works.
It works really well.
It works. So that's just the Incendio bit of it. Now, let's talk about the Transfiguration. Okay, this has lasted, I'm assuming this conversation could not have been more than 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. This whole scene of him being transfigured and having this conversation up to this point with Delphi could maybe, real time, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, maybe a half hour. Maybe an hour. Mm-hmm. Tops. You have the Minister for Magic, the best in her class, Hermione Granger. You have Draco Malfoy, who's not a slouch. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Ginny took part in the Transfiguration. I don't think she would have wanted any bit of it. No. And again, maybe the kids did. I don't think the kids did. I don't think
I personally wouldn't want the kids to do it if it was me.
One, I don't think they know Voldy enough to really transfigure. Yeah. And two, I don't know. They're great students, both of them, Scorpius especially, but I don't know that I would trust them with that kind of human transfiguration.
Not human transfiguration.
Yeah. So it's really just, I guess, Ron, Hermione, and Draco. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. And whatever. They're not Dumbledore. I understand. They're not McGonagall. I understand.
But Hermione Granger.
They should be able to make Transfiguration. Also, Transfiguration just wears off.
Yeah. I have so many questions about this too. Because I was trying to look into Transfiguration more. And it did say that, yes, that could become permanent. Yes, it can go wrong and stuff. But it seemed to indicate that the only way for the Transfiguration to really go away is for it to be purposely removed. When we think about the Transfiguration that Hermione did on Ron when they were trying to, sneak into Gringotts, the only reason why that Transfiguration went away was because I literally went through the waterfall whose job is to remove those magical transfigurations. And that was
far longer.
Yes. So I was wondering if this is too much inspiration from Polyjuice Potion, because obviously you would start to lose your transformation after an hour, if we're going to assume an hour is going on, or if we're trying to make the comment that, like, if you are not entirely focused on your transformation, then it will start to wear away. And since Harry is now a little distracted by being in the moment with Delphi, that maybe the focus is more divided. But regardless, I don't like it.
I don't know how much Harry participated in his own transfiguration. I suppose that is a question to be asked. Mm-hmm. But he could have. He also maybe could not have been. Whatever. But to your point about like distraction or waning thoughts or whatever being a part of it, I actually agree with that. And that's my only explanation that I could possibly put in. Maybe the group behind the doors are preparing their attacks, and they're thinking more about what they're about to do than focusing on their transfiguration, if it's a concentration type of spell, which I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
But this is like literally the only explanation I could put out there, so that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. But
maybe they were focusing on something else, and that magic that they had just done weakens because they're now prepping for something else. I mean, I don't think that's how the magic works.
No, it doesn't.
But that's the only explanation I could put forth.
The only real explanation is that as a plot device, we have to reveal that this is Harry, not Voldemort. So the whole, like, him pulling his hand up into his sleeve, him pulling the hood over his head because his head is starting to not resemble Voldemort anymore. Like, this is them trying to prepare the actor to be switched out with the actor for Harry. That's the only real reason.
Yeah. So, as they're going back and forth with spells, and Harry is not shy of a solo challenge, the problem, however, is Delphi seems to be stronger than Harry, and actually succeeds in disarming him.
She uses Expelliarmus against Harry, and works.
So Delphi taunts Harry by saying that she has watched Harry for a long time and knows him better than Voldy ever did. Basically, what she's saying is she's pulled a reverse Harry.
Yeah.
Instead of Harry studying Voldy and knowing every ounce of Voldy's life and habits and attitudes and feelings, desires, wants, needs, everything.
Everything that makes him tick.
Everything that makes Voldy Voldy. Now, someone has done it to Harry and has studied every little bit about Harry to prep for a future battle with Harry Potter, if that so happens.
Now, she says, though, it wasn't really to be doing that. It was to be worthy of Voldemort, to make her proud of her. But, yeah, she has 100% pulled a Harry on Harry.
It's just an interesting kind of flip of the situation, which I actually respect. I like it. But anyway, yeah, she ends up firing Expulso as the floor explodes by Harry, which she ends up dodging. Then she uses another an oldie but a goodie in Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Again, very basic, simple spell. Yes, very effective used in a stage play, though. It's very cool.
Yeah, she made the church pews kind of like fly up all over the place.
Yep, ascend into the air. She debates whether to kill Harry at this point or to just wait and have him witness her stopping the whole prophecy from occurring. Which one would be better for me? I don't know. I guess I'll just kill you.
She's like, you know what? I am bored. I'll kill you right now. Like, okay.
Gotta do something.
Psychopath.
I gotta do something until he gets here, so... and she attempts to slam one of the pews on top of Harry, but missed narrowly. Albus ends up emerging from a grate on the floor. That's right. Albus was in the vents.
Yay! I love it when characters go in vents.
Yep. He was in a grate and pops up, unbeknownst to either combatant. And as Delphi is beginning to fire off the killing curse, Albus shouts, "Dad!" Delphi switches the spell from Harry to Albus, and she actually fires this one off. She actually gets this full spell off. And Harry throws Albus out of the way as the spell hits the ground. Harry quickly fires a bolt back, which, again, I have a question about. Harry fires a bolt back, and Harry admits that he's not stronger than Delphi, but then has this kind of rallying line of like, I might not be stronger than you, Delphi, but we are. And Albus opens the doors that the rest of the group is stuck behind by using, obviously, Aloha Mora. This is like a welcome to Charms Class 101. But
the basic spells that even the most, like, less devoted fan would still recognize.
Yeah. And Harry taunts Delphi with, I have never fought alone, and I never will. Let's just take a pause here and kind of discuss this back and forth. The thing I have a question about, and I actually went back and read these passages a couple of times. Harry's disarmed. The wand is flying towards Delphi.
Yep, out of his hands.
Out of his hands.
Yep.
And then nothing.
He's like crawling around on the floor.
Nothing. Harry fires a spell back. How? He doesn't have a wand.
I noticed that too. And I was like, where did this wand come from?
I went back and reread it like twice.
Yeah.
What I'm assuming is in the stage play, the wand is pulled from him by that spell. He's disarmed in the play. And then as he's crawling around, he probably picks it up and uses it, which is fine. And that's totally fine. Usually, though, when they're doing this, they will put in a stage note.
Like Harry grabs his wand.
Yeah, because they put in Harry's like crawling on the floor after like a pew missing him.
Yeah.
Just add in the little picked up his wand.
Yeah, because it is an important detail. You do need your wand to cast spells.
Honestly, it took me out of it because I was reading it and I'm like, wait, how did he get a wand back? Did I miss something? And then I went back and I'm like, no, I didn't miss anything. It just, I don't know. It kind of pulled me out of it a little bit, if I'm being honest. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think about Harry not being stronger than Delphi? What do you think about Delphi overpowering Harry here?
I feel like it's over dramatic. It's for the sake of just amplifying the stakes for this battle. Harry has survived a lot. Harry has faced off against Voldemort. Sure, Delphi can fly. Sure, she's the allegory or whatever. But it's not like this is Harry's first rodeo. Yes, he's older, but we had that whole debate back with Lupin with like, he's really, really great at duels, even if he is older. The wisdom that he has gained from it can kind of balance out against the youth that Delphi might be having. So I think Harry, maybe he says that she's stronger than him because kind of manipulates her. It makes her think that she's doing well. So in her excitement, she makes a mistake. I like the comment, though, because the saying, I've never fought alone, you see, and I never will, then acknowledges, like, no, I'm not by myself. I have my son with me. And I've recognized that he's more adult than I have maybe been treating him in some ways. And I'm going to acknowledge that he can help me out here.
Well, I think it's not just him. It's
everyone else too, sure. But before they open
the
door, yeah.
But I actually think this is an acknowledgement of what I complained about through books 4 through 7. What the ultimate issue I was going to have with book 7 ended up being, which is how in the world is Harry going to outduel Voldemort? And the answer to that question was a technicality, which I wasn't super thrilled with. I wasn't content with that answer. Like, I get it, and I get that it makes sense. I'm not thrilled that our protagonist beat the main villain by a technicality. But here it's coming back. So Harry, I think, is actually better than he ever was at the current age that he's at. Because I think you gain experience, like that Lupin conversation that we had. I think you gain experience, you get better, you get a deeper knowledge of magic. You could do a lot more, despite them using Incendio Alohomora and Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah.
They can do a wider range of magic that's a lot more potent. That being said, I have to wonder if Delphi, being the literal child of Tom Riddle, Lord Voldemort, and Bellatrix Lestrange, and presumably being taught magic by Rodolphus Lestrange, who was, a pretty prominent Death Eater, who had tortured the Longbottoms and such. Like, I wonder if the bottom line is, maybe this is the duel that I had thought I was going to get at the end of Deathly Hallows, where you have, for lack of a better term, a riddle, Delphi riddle, I guess, sure, and Harry Potter. And I don't think he can match the magical power of that individual. I think he's just overmatched. He's not that he's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Harry's not super strong and not super able. Obviously, he's been catching dark wizards his entire literal life. And that's his current job now as a Department of Law Enforcement. He's the head of that department. So he's capable and he's able. But we're not dealing potentially with just another dark wizard. We're dealing with the heir to the heir of Slytherin.
I mean, Delphi certainly has the motivation factor of wanting to meet her father for the first time in her life and prove herself worthy of him. So that is certainly giving her more aggression and more of a desire to not hold back. But at the same time, Harry knows that if he doesn't succeed here, his existence, the existence of the whole wizarding world, every person that he loves and everything that is at stake is gone. So he's also fighting with his all. I personally don't love the idea of Delphi being stronger than Harry.
Why?
Because I think Delphi has worked better in the shadows with manipulation and not so much with active combat. I think Harry has had more experience with combat than Delphi has. So for her to suddenly be so great at a combat situation feels like her storming a castle without any kind of training.
I just think that there are kind of levels to this magic, and Dumbledore and Voldemort are on a tier of their own. Mm-hmm. Then you go down to maybe the McGonagalls, the Snapes, the Flitwicks, that kind of tier of Witcher Wizard. The Bellatrixes would probably be on that tier. Things like that, right? And then you go down further, and that's probably 5th or 6th tier down is probably where the kids were. Probably where you get Harry, probably where you get Hermione, something like that, right? Talented, good, on the come up, have potential, but they're not. No one's saying Harry was a better magical combatant than Bellatrix.
Sure, but now they're the adults, and
right.
she's
now they might be. Now they might be on that level, right?
Yeah.
So if now Harry and Hermione are on, let's say, that 2nd, 3rd tier, okay, could Delphi be on that 2nd, 1st tier now? Could she be that magically powerful?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think she would still be... If Harry is now at the level that Bellatrix would have been, then I would think Delphi is at the level that Harry is at. And maybe it's, like Harry certainly was able to maneuver his way out of situations sometimes by pure luck and help. And maybe Delphi right now, it's a little bit of luck and the motivation to succeed, to see her father. But I just don't like the idea of her being so skilled at combat when we have no evidence that she's been actively doing combat. Maybe she practiced with Rodolphus. Maybe there was that kind of training and stuff. But I saw her as much better at being a spy than being a soldier.
Well, the only combat we've technically seen her in is just a quick-fire killing curse, which has connected and has been effective.
Well, yeah, but that's also why I'm like, I don't buy her being so great at this. What evidence do we have?
Well, the others emerge from the doors and begin to overwhelm Delphi as she ends up slumping to the floor. This, to your point that we just talked about, this is where I guess the separation between her and the Voldy Dumbledore tier would come into place, because I don't think either of those two wizards are getting overwhelmed by 5 people.
Yeah, no, easily. I mean...
They could take 5 people. So
they could take more than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally see Voldy dueling Kingsley, McGonagall, and Slughorn, and not breaking a sweat.
While total chaos is going on around him.
Yeah. So, I mean, so to your point, there's some separation there at the very least. Hermione ends up binding her on the floor. Harry starts to advance towards Delphi, still a little scared of her. Because this is like the first time Harry's been like, ooh, man, I am outmatched here. And Harry repeatedly asks if Albus is okay. Is Albus okay? Albus, is he fine? Is he good? Ginny? Good? Yes?
This is subtle, but I actually really do enjoy this part, because I think Harry, by repeatedly asking, like, yes, is Albus okay? You promised me he's okay. Like, tell me. I can't look at him right now. I have to keep my eyes on Delphi, but I need to know. This is the closest Harry has ever come to basically doing Lily's sacrifice for him, like doing that sacrifice for Albus. So I think in this moment, Harry is seeing like just how strong his love as a parent is for his child, and having that close brush with death the way his mother did for him is like, oh my gosh, it is hitting him hard. It's bringing back the trauma of losing his mother, but it's also just like, this is real and this was scary, and I need the reassurance repeatedly because this is just getting at me.
Both Ginny and Albus confirm that he is indeed okay. Harry to Delphi says, "A lot of people have tried to kill me in my life. But my son? You're going to try to kill my son? And Delphi says that she only wanted to know her father, which surprises Harry. And he responds with, you know, you're always going to be an orphan. That never leaves you. Which is an interesting conversation to have between those two individuals.
Yeah.
Delphi pleads with Harry, let me see him. Just let me see him. Like, you could do whatever else. Just let me see him one time. And Harry's like, you know I can't do that. Mm-hmm. I won't do that. Mm-hmm. And Delphi says, just kill me then. Just end it. Harry's like, I can't do that either. And this is where Albus is like, I'm sorry, what?
Why not? She's murdered people.
I've literally seen her kill people. Why are we taking this merciful road now? Probably not the person to do it with. Hermione and Harry agree that, no, Delphi is the murderer. We are not. I have to ask you this question. Would you kill Delphi?
Probably not. I know that she's wanting that, and I understand in this moment you might have pity, not forgiveness, but pity for the situation she's in. Obviously, she thinks that she is the hero of her own story, and in her own story, the idea of proving her worth to her father, bringing him back to life and power is the right thing to do, and being dealt this blow and this defeat would be devastating enough to want to die. But I think that killing her is going to corrupt Albus and everyone else who is there. And if nothing else, Harry has always been one to be like, you can have a redemption arc. So if we just kill you, that doesn't allow you the chance to redeem yourself. Which is also, I think, why he says with the Delphi's next request, like, take my memory from me so I can at least forget who I am. Let me, get away from that. I think if they had taken her memory, that would be depriving her of her chance for a redemption arc. So can't do that either.
Delphi does indeed plead to take her memory from her mind, as she states. And they decline that option and decide to take her back to their present and have her, quote, rot in Azkaban. I don't know that you can let this much of a dangerous individual just exist.
She'd need to be high security vaulted in Azkaban.
I don't know what the security even is at Azkaban anymore.
I think it's just the Aurors, right? Protecting it?
Aurors might be security there, possibly. But you're risking a lot. Apparently, you're just letting Rodolphus walk out of Azkaban, so if they just get a good enough magical lawyer, they're fine. This seems risky to me. If you don't want to kill them, I understand that moral choice. You have to do a memory modification or something. Because it's just too risky. The daughter of Voldemort? People find out that the daughter of Voldemort is in Azkaban, and they become cultists, and they try to break her out.
Yeah.
You can't have that risk.
I mean, I remember when we were back in book 2, the conversation is a little more vague since that's been a few years removed, but I remember us talking about memory modifications and what the rules should be around it. Should the ministry have the right to do that? And I don't know. I mean, for the ministry to choose to sentence you to a memory modification, I mean, in this moment, it would be an act of pity. And she's obviously asking for it. It would be a choice that she would be making. But does the government have the right to take your mind away from you? I don't know if you could make that argument.
This woman wanted to go back in time and essentially become Thanos.
Yeah.
Erase half the population.
Yeah. So then the question would be, well, if they did oblige her and erased her memory, is a memory modification enough to erase her nature? Because if we're going to say the only thing driving her was the knowledge of the prophecy, well then, okay, cool, remove the memory of the prophecy and then that fixes things. But if it's within her nature as the daughter of of Voldemort to be a murderer or to do dark things, well, then will a memory modification fix that? I don't know if it would.
So, I mean, there's levels to this. Like, what happens if you replace the Hall of Prophecy in the Department of Mysteries with, like, stored memories of prisoners? You just take memories out of them, store them, so they're not gone.
No, just jars full of memories.
Yeah. And just, like, have them there in case, you know, maybe they've earned redemption or they have done whatever. And maybe you can restore them at some point. Maybe.
Could you imagine, like, just, like, thinking that you've lived your life totally fine, whatever, and then the government comes to you and they restore memories of horrible, cruel things that you had done?
That's a completely different type of novel.
Like, how psychologically damaging that would be.
Yeah.
Like, how crazy that would be.
That's a completely different type of novel.
Oh, I want to read that. I want to see that.
Yeah.
That's dark.
Right? So, look, I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm not saying that there's a good answer. All I'm saying is that Hermione is going to have to come up with a good answer. That's her job as Minister for Magic. You can't let her out on the street for obvious reasons. You can't even inform people where she is or anything like that because of the fear of someone being like, hey, wait a second. I can break out the daughter of Voldemort?
Yeah.
So it's a decision they're going to have to make. And look, all of you listening to this, please feel free to impart your own comments and thoughts and reactions to this scene, to all of what Ginny has had to say, to all of what Harry and Delphi have said going back and forth in Delphi's history. I'd find it just fascinating for all of you to comment on.
Like, what do you think would be the best fate for Delphi?
What would be the best fate for Delphi? Give us your thoughts. It would be really interesting to read for us. So please comment on that. But yes, to wrap up this scene and to wrap up this episode, Harry does begin to hear a hissing noise, which is saying, Harry Potter. Voldy has arrived in Godric's Hollow. Delphi screams out, and Draco's like, oh no! Silencio! Silences her, and also Wingardium Leviosa raises her into the rafters of this church to get her out of sight. And Harry says, he's coming. Voldy, now this is a stage direction, Voldy comes through the back of the stage, crosses it, walks into the auditorium, bringing a sense of death with him. Everyone knows it.
I do remember hearing that whisper of, like, Harry Potter, and just, like, loud but also chilling and subtle at the same time, and just being like, ooh, like, it does give you chills. It reminds me of that Forbidden Forest experience that we did when we heard Voldemort's voice out in the darkness, and it was like, it just surrounds you and it engulfs you, and you're just like, oh, this is creepy. It's very, very well done. So in terms of the arrival of Voldemort onto the stage as actual Voldemort and not just Harry pretending to be Voldemort, it's a chilling effect.
Yeah, I think that's something that Harry, even though he has such a depth of knowledge about only things that Voldy himself would know kind of things, you know? The one thing he couldn't possibly imitate, no matter how hard he tried or what effects Hermione would like to put around it, is the presence that Voldy carries with him. That dread that just seems to emanate from him, or that, again, natural charisma of Tom Riddle that he has always carried with him of, I'm important just by the way I walk, by the way I look, by the way I carry myself. Like, you must deal with me one way or the other, and you can just sense it as it just radiates off of him. That you just can't duplicate.
Yeah, the fear that comes with Voldemort is palpable.
Yeah, so, I mean, I could only imagine what being in that presence must have been like for many, many, many of our characters. But again, I have asked for your thoughts and comments, and I want all of your thoughts and comments. Please leave them on any of our socials, which you can find at HogwartsAPod, whether that's Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Please leave a comment on Spotify on this episode or any of our others. If you're re-listening, binging, whatever you're doing, we love to hear it from all across the podcast.
Yeah, it's fun to debate. Sorcerer's
Stone or Prisoner of Azkaban or Cursed Child. It's fun to get those comments. So please let us know what you're thinking. With that, we'll wrap it up here, and we'll be back soon with the end of Cursed Child.
Yeah, crazy.
Went
fast.
Crazy that we're at the end. So on that episode, we will have what's next for the podcast. So please tune in and stick around. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be back soon. Thank you for listening to Hogwarts, a podcast. If you like what you've heard, please click the subscribe button on your preferred podcasting app and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HogwartsAPod.